We break up and now I gotta take care of that anyway.
Right, and that's why
So,
to me, I would think it would make more sense to say, hey, if we ever break up, we would
sell the house.
We would sell this house, and you would stay in something
you could afford.
Not put you in the hood and that, especially if we got kids together.
Right.
But maybe it wouldn't be this house.
Well, it could have been a scheme that Todd set up for him to come to you with.
Wow, baby. Who would have guessed Mama Joyce was right about little Todd Tucker with that big old head being a smooth player this entire time? Ever since their split went public, Kandi kept trying to block every rumor, saying there wouldn't be any of that wildness and drama folks usually expect with celebrity breakups. She kept saying she and Todd were far too friendly for all that mess. But child, Kandi has been humming a whole different melody now that Todd went to the court asking for their prenup to be tossed out, claiming he was pushed and pressured into signing something he never truly wanted to sign in the first place.
Worried about Kandi being fair. I feel like he wants to pound his chest a little bit because he's read the jokes.
Damn.
We'll say this. We watched that scene right before their wedding where she said, I've told you from jump, I've never wavered that I wanted a prenup. Why are you feigning confusion now? He hemmed and hawed, called his lawyer didn't pick up. She calls her lawyer immediately picks up. And in the midst of a conversation, it's revealed that he had misled his counsel to not realize that she was already splitting their assets together with any joint ventures. So on camera, we've seen him get caught being duplicitous with lies of omission to his own counsel. If you can't even tell the truth to your own lawyers, then you can't act like you're a victim if you didn't do your due diligence when I've been doing my due diligence and I've never wavered on my stand.
And that still ain't even the full tea, because it's starting to look like Todd treated this whole marriage like a plan B for when a divorce came around. Now he's saying he's always been the main caretaker of their kids, and he's got proof to show it. And he's asking for not only alimony, but some heavy child support along with full custody of the kids. And Kandi is going through it, y'all, and snapping back at Todd. I can already tell this divorce is about to be a whole lot messier. Baby, I hope Kandi's prenup is as tight and locked down as Mama Joyce prayed it would be, because Todd is reaching for everything. For years, Kandi stayed focused on her man, her family, and her businesses, lifting Todd up like he was the best man she could have ever chosen, personally and professionally. And Todd was sitting pretty off it too. I mean, they opened businesses together and even had that open marriage, with Kandi defending bringing somebody else into their bedroom, saying it only made their marriage stronger.
230 said threesomes never work. That's not true. I done had a threesome and it worked just fine. It worked great, actually. Anyway, I feel like it's the communication.
This little pussy's just hot. You did.
What are you talking about? I'm just saying it's the communication on it all. But I think that
But from these new reports, Todd was holding a grudge because Kandi was more successful and the one making the real money. He kept tossing out wild pretend situations about what he'd get or how Kandi would act with her cash if they ever decided to split.
I don't care that I don't get credit for.
Okay.
Anything I create, Kandi, da-da-da-da.
So you want...
I do not really some weird words.
But that's the way it feels.
And it ain't just 1 or 2 random clips floating around online for people to stumble on. It's hours and hours of footage Todd himself uploaded to his YouTube channel without Mama Joyce's shade or heat hovering over him. These are his own thoughts and personality that he shared willingly, and it was always him saying he deserved things from Kandi simply for being there.
I used to date somebody back in the day, that motherfucker catered like I was a billionaire. But it was just something that they enjoyed doing for me.
How did she cater that she was a billionaire if she didn't have no...
No, I said she catered like I was a billionaire. Yeah. So I walked in, and she would work. She worked like anybody else. She had a child, but she would cook. She would cook in her panties. She would do all kind of shit.
Okay, so why y'all didn't stay together?
Yeah, right. She's so damn capable.
Yeah, why y'all just stay together?
With all these videos circulating, some folks kept saying maybe Todd only did it for views and attention because that's the type of things that blow up online. They said Kandi would never play about her coins, and she'd just let Todd talk for the sake of making some money off people discussing them. But everything Todd was saying was clearly planting seeds for what he planned to do when the day finally came for him and Kandi to split. In her filing, Kandi said she wanted them to share joint custody of their 2 kids, Ace and Blay. Now, keep in mind that the prenup doesn't say Todd gets nothing. It simply says he can't touch what she earned before him, and he has to pack up and leave the house in 30 days. But with Kandi being as successful as she is on her own, we all know those businesses they built together, and I'm talking Old Lady Gang, weren't exactly sky-high hits. Even in her filing, Kandi said they had marital debts and wanted the court to divide it fairly. So on Wednesday, November 26, 2025, right before Thanksgiving, Todd finally responded to the divorce paperwork. In his reply, he asked for full custody, saying the kids are mostly with him anyway because Kandi travels out of state so often for work. He added that she's a good mom, and if she doesn't want him having full custody, he's fine with having primary custody and sharing legal custody since the kids are with him most of the time now that Kandi is on Broadway. And honestly, that part sounds pretty normal since Kandi really does work a lot more. But that wasn't the part that had Kandi choking on air over the man she married. We all watched their wedding special and saw how Todd really thought he'd walk down that aisle without signing a thing. And just when he thought he got away with it, Kandi's lawyer walked in holding that prenup. Kandi made it clear that if he didn't sign, the wedding was not happening, and Todd finally gave in.
I have a question for people who have had prenups or who are part of the prenup land or who have signed a prenup. How easy is it to get out of it? Because the way Todd is running this shit is crazy, bruh. This man said, I want to break that damn prenup when he sat there on live TV and said, I'm going to sign this prenup because ain't nothing going to stop me, ain't nothing going to stop our love. We're going to be together forever. You signed that shit, and Kandi, you was right. You was smart. But now he wants the children too?
Now he's dragging it back up again, arguing he wasn't fully okay with the prenup back then because he signed it only 4 hours before the wedding. He says he was under pressure to get it done without his lawyer around, and that the whole thing shouldn't be enforced on him now.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you. Hi, Todd. Okay. Marjorie's my notary.
Okay.
Reagan is going to be one of the witnesses. Kate will be the other witness.
I decided to sign a prenup against my lawyer's advice. In the end, I know all this legal stuff is not going to keep me from being with Kandi. You do many of these on the day of the wedding?
I have done a couple.
Yeah.
All right, I'm rolling. Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, ready. Okay. This is a video recording of the execution of the prenuptial agreement between Kandi Burruss and Todd Tucker. You acknowledge that you have had a sufficient amount of time and opportunity to fully consider the prenuptial agreement and to request changes to the prenuptial agreement.
Yes.
You understand that you are giving up your rights to periodic alimony, lump sum alimony, alimony in kind, attorney's fees, and expenses of litigation, property settlement, equitable distribution, and community property.
Todd is insisting that if he and his lawyers had more time, they would have changed the prenup since he believed he had way more rights to her music money and production royalties. But Kandi isn't budging at all since all of that prenup drama was aired on the Real Housewives of Atlanta wedding spinoff. Now Kandi is basically telling the judge, run the tape. She actually wants them to watch the footage from the show. Kandi's lawyer even pointed out a moment from the spinoff where Todd said on camera that he was cool with signing the prenup after talking to his lawyers both on and off the set. There is literally nothing here worth fighting about. The fact he wants to argue it now and use the kids to get more out of her just shows things behind closed doors must have been super messy. And you know what? Maybe Mama Joyce was right. Not Todd Tucker pulling a reverse Uno saying he wants full custody and the prenup torn apart. He had that plotted when he got sloppy with cheating after them 2 kids. She defended him from her mama, her aunt, Portia, Phaedra, everybody, and the whole world. And this is how he wants it to end? Todd Tucker, when I see you. I always felt Todd was an opportunist. Mama Joyce might have been harsh toward him, but she wasn't wrong in what she saw. But what do y'all think about it? Do you believe Todd planned a whole scheme, or are folks just blowing it up? Tell me in the comments and make sure you hit like and subscribe. I'll see y'all in the next video.